Navajo Witchcraft. The blueprint of bone-chilling, skin-peeling evil is rooted in Navajo legend and has got nothing to do with Hollywood is CGI werewolves or your ex's spiritual phase. Here's what they won't teach you in Folklore 101. To become a skinwalker, you don't meditate under moonlight or brew herbal tea, you commit an unforgivable sin. I mean, slaughter your own blood kind of sin. That's the initiation, right? You don't stumble into skinwalker status. You break yourself open and rebuild with rod. These beings, or rather, what's left of the human soul after such ritualistic annihilation, are called Yi na Loshi. With it, he goes on all fours. That's a poetic way of saying he ditched humanity, put on a coyote, and now crawls around like a rabid thought on the edge of your nightmares. And don't mistake this for shape-shifting with style. We're not talking animorphs. When they take on animal forms, it's grotesque and natural hybrids that wear flesh like a damp hoodie. You'll see a deer standing too tall, with knees that bend wrong and eyes that say, "I remember your name." These creatures don't become wolves. They wear wolves like puppets made of bone and rage. Most disturbingly, they retain intelligence. You're not hiding from a beast. You're replaying chess with a sociopath that knows your grandma as voice and your childhood secrets. They mimic human sounds, laughter, screams, familiar phrases. Imagine your mother calling from outside at 3 a.m., but your mom's been dead since 2004. Their power isn't brute strength. It's psychological warfare dipped in ancient vengeance. And the Navajo? They don't say their names aloud for good reason. You acknowledge them, they might acknowledge you back. With claws. If there's one thing more terrifying than a skinwalker's existence, it's the knowledge that someone had to choose this path. That out there, a human mind decided, yes, I want the power that comes after I erase my humanity. We call it myth. But for the Navajo, it's a truth too dangerous to name. The Cursed Cloak. No, not some enchanted Harry Potter hand-me-down. I'm talking about the literal, blood-stiffened hides that skinwalkers wear, animal skins that reek of death and power, stitched not with thread, but with intention. And the intention is always corrupt. Here's the deal. The transformation isn't some elegant fade-through-mist animation. The cloak is the anchor, the parasite, the tool. You wrap yourself in the pelt of a predator, wolf, coyote, bear, owl, and you don't just take its form. You feed on it. You warp it. You defile it. You override the animal's instincts with your own festering thirst for vengeance, envy, chaos. The most feared of all? Coyote, of course. Trickster, scavenger, opportunist. That animal has always symbolized walking the line between the mundane and the mystical. But skinwalkers sprint across that line, laughing with teeth too long to be human. The cloak isn't just worn, it fuses. Ever see a thing that doesn't blink? That breathes like it forgot how lungs work? Skinwalker forms aren't seamless. They're wrong, like someone trying to redraw a lion from memory, using broken glass and an ink pen dipped in their own screaming. And don't even start on the idea of taking off the cloak. This isn't cosplay. Once you bond with that skin, you've signed the death certificate of your former self. It's less about physical transformation and more about identity replacement. You don't become the wolf. You cease to be anything else. Oh, and did I mention the cloak can whisper? Yeah. Some legends claim the skins themselves are alive or at least sentient enough to tempt others. Leave that hide lying around too long, and a curious mind might start hearing it call. And we all know how well curiosity pairs with ancient evil. Imagine needing a costume to be evil. Then imagine that the costume starts needing you. That's what the cloak is, not fashion, not protection. It's a contract, inked in sinew and sealed with your last moral breath. The forbidden's name. There's power in language, but terror in a name. Especially when it doesn't just label something and invites it. In Navajo culture, the true horror isn't just encountering a skinwalker. It's talking about them, naming them, thinking about them too long with too much focus, because that name, it's not a label. It's a damned signal flare in the spiritual void. They're not Voldemort. They're worse. Voldemort might kill you. A skinwalker will mimic your voice, where your siblings laugh, and let you open the door before it feeds. That's the difference. Voldemort's theatrical. Skinwalkers are personal. The Navajo avoid saying the word ye na lucy aloud unless absolutely necessary, and even then, they do it like one might disarm a bomb, cautiously, precisely while praying the wires don't twitch. It's not superstition. It's survival protocol passed down like trauma inheritance. And you little urban legend sponge, you Googled it, maybe said it, repeated it like a spooky campfire chant, thought it was just folklore. But in this worldview, saying the name gives it shape, gives it the coordinates. There's a reason skinwalkers are so obsessed with voices, with names, with mimicry. They don't want your soul. They want your identity. The more people know their name, the more power they gain. They're mimetic in the purest sense. They spread through attention, through mention, like parasites in the social consciousness. You want to know why people whisper about them? Because language is the ritual, the invocation, the mistake. In a world where words are spells, skinwalker is a slur against reality, and reality doesn't always forgive. You might think you're safe behind your screen, tossing around the term like it's clickbait or edgy trivia. But if they notice you back, you'll know. When the dog outside your window starts saying your name. The eyes. You ever lock eyes with something and immediately regret being alive? That's the skinwalker gaze. It's not just wrong, it undoes you. They say a skinwalker's eyes glow in the dark. Cool party trick, right? Until you realize it's not a reflection, it's an emission. Like there's something inside staring out, and it's more ancient than fire and twice as hungry. But even that's not the disturbing part, no. The real horror is when they're still in human form, because the eyes don't change. No matter what face they wear, coyote, deer, your dead uncle, that gaze never lies, cold, intelligent, void of empathy. A predator with a PhD in human fear. Looking into them feels like falling down a well full of whispers, like remembering something you were never supposed to know. And if they catch you looking, you've already lost. Not because they'll chase you, though they might, but because your brain will never trust faces again. You'll see the echo of their gaze in strangers, in reflections, in dreams. They imprint on your psyche like a thumb pressed into wax. Some Navajo elders say the gaze can paralyze you. Not magically psychologically. It strips you down to your survival instincts and whispers, "You're prey," and then you believe it. Your body listens, your muscles betray you, and it gets worse. See, skinwalkers don't just see you, they read you. Not your aura, not your soul, your intentions. They sniff out fear the way a shark smells blood in miles of ocean. You think you're being smart, staying silent? They already know what you're planning. They already heard you thinking it. You can shoot one, you can set traps. You can douse the forest in sage and prayer, but once it locks eyes with you, you're part of the script. You're in its story. And it doesn't do happy endings. So when people say, "Don't look at it," they don't mean out of respect. They mean self-defense. Don't give it a window. Don't give it a mirror. Don't let it see you see it. Because that's when the story starts. And that's when you stop being the narrator.